at. Welcome back to the Good Marshals Universal Podcast. I'm Dan Bernardo, Keith Mosier, Bo Davis. I don't know where I am. We're here somewhere on Earth floating.
It's on a giant space rock.
Yeah.
Ripping through space.
You know, what are you going to do? Anyway, today the topic is it okay to train in multiple locations?
It was your question.
It was my question. I came up with it. So absolutely, it's been a blast. So I spent the last, just say month, because I think I went to Charleston too at the beginning of it. So I've been taking my guys down to Charleston, Savannah. We went up to Sword, Carolina, and Greer, and finally stopped off at Swordwin in Charlotte. And a lot of it was like, you guys need to fight guys that are not us, for one, because you can't get better just fighting the same 3 dudes, 4 dudes, however many over and over again. And they know stuff I don't. So it's important to take them for that. Like, they're teaching them a lot of the German stuff that I have like zero idea about, but when I look at it, I'm like, makes sense. I just would have never thought to use XYZ like that. So it gives them an opportunity to explore and bring it back and try it out, and then new things happen in here and we get better. And then we do it all over again, go back, go train. So I think it's good. I think you should. I think it is the way to go. Like, before depending on if we re-record that one or not, we talked like the pond flowing into the other pond, into the other pond, into the other pond. If your pond is a retention pond, it's going to stink.
Stagnant water is
Yes.
not safe to drink.
No.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, again, this podcast is called Good Marshals Universal. One of the main reasons for that is we tend to think that other systems do something different, and it will taint what we do. It will stain our students and make them confused, and things like that. And I don't ascribe to that. I mean, like, maybe if you're a brand spanking new student, you've never done anything before ever, and you've come in and you don't even know your left from your right. It's hard for you to walk. You can't, you have very little coordination. Then, yeah, let's take some time. Let's cultivate a base level skill. But then you need to cross train. I really do believe that it's important. I completely agree that you don't know everything. I don't know everything. And your students have to be able to see what other people do.
Yeah.
They have to, whether that's going to tournaments, whether that's going to seminars, whether that's just going to other schools that you're somewhat affiliated with, maybe not, but you just kind of want to be like, hey, let's train. I want to bring some guys. I want them to just experience something different, right? I 100% am on board with this concept.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't think of it like this, but it's community building as well. It's good for the sport. It's good for regional growth. It's good for all that good stuff. And, there are a lot of clubs that are kind of within ours, so we all kind of keep an internal communication. Plenty of clubs I bunk up with every tournament, though, that aren't always in that chat or aren't always in that little circle. They're, Athens School of Arms down in Georgia. Every time we go to tournament, we do the house together. Completely different club. Huge club, completely different. Don't even know what they have going on. Really, there's the Atlanta boys too. When I see them at tournament, I hang out with them a good bit. You meet guys and you learn from them, but you don't just learn from them. You'll become friends with, handful of people here and there, and that's also part of why I bring my guys out too, is so they could have that community.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with one of my students earlier today about one of the things that I think a lot of classical arts struggle with is that there's more emphasis put on what school you're involved with, what lineage you're involved with, what organization you're involved with. There's much more emphasis put on that than on how good you are or what your skill level is, or you know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, you know, I'm a third generation disciple of, I don't care. Like, that doesn't matter to me, right? What matters to me is how good you are. Now, with that said, not everybody has to be good. You know, that was something that was told to me by, I'm not going to say his name, but a high-level martial artist, when I was complaining to him about the state of martial arts and how most everybody is not that amazing, especially in the classical systems, right? And he was like, not everybody has to be good. And I was like, but, and he was like, why? First of all, martial arts is about being, you know, the essence of martial arts is about winning the war or winning the fight, right? Like, that's kind of the base, like real basic, right? We could branch off and talk about philosophy and blah, blah, blah. But like, martial arts is about essentially being better than the other people. Do you want the other people to be good? And I was like, yeah, but, and he's like, I know, but you know, you have to accept the fact that not everybody has to be good, and that's okay.
That's a really good point. He's just like, yeah, just let them be bad.
Yeah, just, who cares?
That's
right?
why you
Are
be
they your
good so that they
students?
can be bad.
No. Well, then why do you care?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, I agree. I think that you should train with different people often. What do you think?
The podcast that was released today, this may be out of sequence, but was Does Language Matter? So right now we're dealing with a bit of language. In a general sense at a certain point, but I'll get to that. You said something that was important. At the very beginning, at the very start, when you don't know your left from your right or how to walk with any kind of structure or anything like that, you try and train in 2 or 3 different places. Let's not even get into whether it's the same art or different arts. You're trying to train at 3 different places. You're going to get confused. So you're like, yeah, I do it all the time. How about when I first met you? How many arts were you training then? How many places were you going then?
I was probably doing jiu-jitsu.
How many places were you
How
going?
many places were you going?
Like about 2 at most.
No, you were going to one school.
You went to CMA. Did you go anywhere else?
Oh! In the beginning.
In the
One
beginning,
school
beginning.
had
In the
everything.
beginning.
In the
beginning.
Beginning of beginnings. I went to one school. Yes.
Even that one school may have had several arts, they had a community of teachers that knew what was going on.
Yes.
So in the beginning, is it smart or is it a good idea to train at multiple places? Probably not.
Not in the very beginning. Nope.
So then the actual, another variant of your question as we discussed these questions was, is it appropriate to train at multiple places simultaneously? You get into the semantic issue of, okay, are you doing Wing Chun here and Jits there and kickboxing there? Or do you have this Wing Chun Sifu and that Wing Chun Sifu and that Wing Chun Sifu? And especially at the beginning, that would be a problem.
It would be a problem.
because, well, no, we do it this way. But Sifu over there, they don't do this, they do that. Yeah, but I'm teaching you what I was taught, right?
Right.
Eventually, I have several Sifu.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at it for a long time.
Right. Right.
Okay. So ultimately, yes, of course, you should always sample other things and see other people. And then there's the question, again, the semantics, the language. Should you train at multiple places at the same time? Or should you kind of like train one place and visit other places, go to seminars?
Right.
Okay, that's
There are two different things.
they're totally two different things between I go from this school and then an hour later I'm over at that school and I do this every day. If it's totally separate arts or styles, that might be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they're somewhat related arts or styles, that may create a problem. I'm not saying don't do it, but there's a difference between seminars, or I go to Sifu Fong's, for 4 days, 4 times a year, but the rest of the time I'm over there. That's different from
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday I'm here, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I'm there.
Right.
That's different.
Right.
So, up, I forgot to turn that off. I forgot to turn that off. That's okay. Oh no, now I'm locked out.
I know.
I meant to turn that off too, and that off as well. Anyway, so to recap, one, you have to be very specific with your language at times.
Yeah.
Beyond, after a couple of years of training in something, kind of goes to, not everybody has to be good. Like, who cares? Why do you care? At your point, it's almost, why did you come up with the question? Because at your level in your training, who cares? Who cares if you're going to 10 different places, right?
True.
At your level of training. Not when he and I met you.
No.
Right.
But I do want to separate specifically the old world idea, which was a marketing idea of you do not train in another art because it will spoil your art. That is student retention. That is an attempt to say, no, McDonald's is better than Burger King. If you go to Burger King, you will never do, it'll mess up your taste for McDonald's.
We'll revoke your McDonald's membership card and won't be able to order anything at McDonald's ever again. Yeah.
Period.
That's something different. So just there, generally, do I agree? Sure. But there are caveats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of, it definitely gets confusing when you have a bunch of instructors kind of teaching you the same stuff. Like, even when we had Connor in here and Adam was doing both side sword and long sword, Adam will come up to me and he'll be like, well, this in side sword. I'm like, yeah, but this not in long sword. Like I had to explain a couple of things here and there because there would be some confusion. But also, there are some things that make other things make sense, I would say.
It's always helpful when you can look at the same thing from a different
angle.
angle. Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
of course, that's like 2 instructors in the same place, but even if he were to go on his own to Charleston or wherever, unless he were to go to a German school and come back, he'd be teaching me, and he's not been doing it for terribly long, but he's been doing it, But I wouldn't trust like one of my brand new guys. Like, I wouldn't trust Kevin to go out and do that. He's had like 3 classes. I'm not gonna be like, hey, yeah, go train with Scholar Charleston right off the rip. No, we took him down to an event so we could get the community and a little bit of fighting in, but it was really a little bit.
So your Tang Soo Do training initiative exists because there was a riff in another organization, of which there are 2 or 3 organizations, of which nobody in any of the organizations are doing the same thing that the original founder seemed to have written in a book.
Yeah.
That's Tang Soo Do. Same stuff happens all the time in Wing Chun.
Same in Tai Chi Chuan.
Everything.
Same in everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
There are so many differences and so many variations. I have a thing that I say repeatedly. My students hear this a good bit. Well, I was looking on YouTube and I saw that they do so and so. And I will say, that's not the way I was taught. I cannot say whether it's right or wrong because they haven't explained to me why they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They may have a legitimate reason for doing it, but I haven't heard that explanation. So I can't say it's wrong or right.
Yeah.
But that becomes an issue when you have, under this idea, let's take a beginning student who is going to 2 different schools at the same time, learning supposedly, we'll take Tang Soo Do as an example, learning your Tang Soo Do and learning somebody else's Tang Soo Do, right? And it's not the same, it's not the same. Both, generally speaking, in most of the world, the 2 instructors will fight about who is correct.
Yeah.
When actually neither may be correct.
It's true.
Or neither may have gotten the other side's information, explanation, and had the ability to go, okay, well, I can see it that way too.
Right, and therefore both could be correct.
Both could be correct.
Yeah.
But the student is observing the battle.
Yeah.
I like how you brought up the YouTube thing because I feel like that's going to happen more and more and more when you have
It
these
happens so much.
short. Well, especially like
so
last
much.
5 years with these short videos and TikTok and crap. My
It's been
feed's
happening.
like,
It's
look
been
at this, look at this, exponentially more than like 10 years ago. But you know, really with that, I just say, show me. And if it's just a thing I see, that's one thing. If it's an explanation, cool, then why did you ask me? Because it's explained, right? Unless you were very confused on something he said. And third, hopefully I know the guy. Like, hopefully I can just message him and be like, what was this? Because my student saw it, and now, you know, I got to explain it.
You know, and that's honestly, I think that's a wonderful thing. You know, I struggle a lot with the amount of information that's available now versus 50, 60, 70 years ago. And I always wonder to myself, if, we'll take my lineage founder, if Huang Yi had access to YouTube, what would he have taught? What would it have looked like?
Crazy.
You know what I mean? And I think so much of there are no more secrets, right? Like, you hear me say this a whole lot, like, there's no more secret mystical techniques anymore, right? It's just skill. You can either do something or you can't.
Positive energy, negative
Well,
energy.
you also,
But my point in that is, with the amount of information these days, you can't gatekeep the same way that you could 50, 60, 70
But
years
you
ago.
can't
misinformation.
well,
But most people are pretty good
You
at
say that, but then
there,
they get brain rotted on TikTok.
There's, but something that we said in another podcast. Well, let's imagine Huang Yi with YouTube. YouTube 2010, YouTube 2020.
Oh, I don't even want to get in that.
Would he agree with himself?
Oh, probably not.
But the YouTube 2010 YouTubes are still out there. And so he might literally, just like 2 instructors across the street trying to train one student, he might literally be fighting with a student about how I was wrong then, I'm right now.
Yeah.
Do what I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
and 10 years later, okay, I was wrong then too.
And I can't find the login information from my old YouTube account, and I can't delete the stupid video. I know, same,
I've
right?
got one that's out there, and it's, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, back to the main question about
Yeah.
training multiple places, even if you had YouTube, or if Wongi was there and had YouTube,
Yeah.
there would be conflict,
There would be. There would be.
even amongst his own.
So I think what would I think
A lot of beef.
be a benefit, right? So if we want to talk about training in multiple places, cross training, training at seminars, having students that have a lot of different influences, that are able to look at the same stuff from different angles, et cetera, et cetera. What needs to happen within the martial arts community is conversation. We need to let go of our ego, because I don't care who you are, there's always somebody better than you. There's always somebody who knows more than you about something. Okay? I don't care who you are. So we need to let go of our ego and have a conversation. If somebody does something different than you, talk about it. Don't argue about it.
For sure.
Talk about it. If you like listening to us babble on about ridiculousness, subscribe, like,
Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment.
comment.
YouTube favors videos that get comments.
Even if it's a horrible comment.
Well, even if it's just, hey y'all.
Tell us how stupid we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube
I
favors
love when I
comments.
get hate comments. I'm like, yes, engagement.
And share, grab it, put it on other platforms.
Do all that.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching.
Peace.
Toodles.